Hello everybody, it's Superpower Week and the verdict this time around. We are going to feature horses from the John and Thady Gosden yard, from the Charlie Appleby yard and from the Aidan O'Brien yard as well. The Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby will come towards the end of the show, but we start at Newmarket on Friday night. This was a 6 furlong fillies handicap. Pinafore was the 6-4 favourite. Jumbo was 4-1. Starguest was 4-1. Lulworth Cove 15-2. And it was 10s and bigger. The rest was a bit of money for Diamond Vega. But 6-4 Pinafore went off as the favourite. And we've had an impressive winner here from the Charlie Appleby yard. No winners at Royal Ascot, but they are red hot at the moment. And it was Starguest who obliged from stall number 8. Right towards the far side, beating Jumbo from 1, stand side, and Coco Jambu was 3rd from stall number 2 and is probably worthy of a place in your racing TV tracker, and this is why. This winner was really impressive here under William Buick. She was dropping back to 6 furlongs and that was the key to her success. She's bred to be a miler, being by Dubawi out of a really good mare, but she doesn't stay. She's speedy. She's too keen when she runs over 7 and too keen when she runs over a mile as well. This is her first go at 6 furlongs and boy was she really impressive. Now she bowled along towards the head of affairs here, always in command of what was quite a steady gallop. Finishing speed percentage 105.24%. So she had a bit of an advantage the way the race was run. She was able to quicken up and go for home first and get a jump on her rivals. But I'm not marking her down for that because she's really fast. She quickened smartly. Look at William Buick hanging on to her and waiting to launch her through the 4th and 5th furlong. They're all pushing along and Buick, well, he's not doing very much. He's just sat motionless, waiting to send her. And when he does, she's impressive. The 4th and 5th furlongs were both 10.91, 2 sub-11 second furlongs on the bounce from this filly, and watch how she clears away in the closing stages from Jumbo and Coco Jambu running on for 3rd place. One flick of the whip from William Buick. She stays on all the way to the line and wins very nicely indeed. That burst of speed, the 4th and 5th furlong, 10.91 through each furlong, completely destroyed her rivals. Her final 3 furlongs, 34.28. Okay, that means nothing, but in context, the runner-up 34.71, so the winner much quicker than the runner-up through the final 3 furlongs. Coco Jambu, just pick this horse up running on. Why should this go in your racing TV trackers? Quite simply, this horse who finished 3rd was poorly placed, yet ran the fastest 5th furlong, the fastest penultimate furlong in the race, trying to chase the winner down. That furlong, 10.89. So Coco Jambu can win one of these in the future. It's very rare that you get Charlie Appleby running a Dubawi filly in a handicap off a mark of 77. She's got a lovely pedigree, but it's taken them a while to find the right trip for her. And the course track numbers that she fired out there through those 2 furlongs that I highlighted tell us that she's a very quick filly indeed, and she'll be able to handle a substantial rise in the weights and really make a name for herself now she's found her métier, which is sprinting. We stayed at the July course on Friday night for what was the best race of the evening. It was a mile and a quarter handicap that concluded the Newmarket card, and first sight was the even money favourite for the Charlie Appleby team. Peaceman 4-1, Regal Empire was 13-2 and very well backed in from 11-1. Incorrigible 12s, it was also 12's Queen of the Skies, and the parent was a 14-1 shot. Well, the favourite was well and truly turned over here, and it was yet another success for Peaceman for the Gosdens. Rab Havlin on board. Stall number 9, Peaceman came from, got the better of Queen of the Skies from stall number 3, and Regal Empire from stall number 5 ran pretty well in 3rd place. First thing to note, right hand side of your screen, yellow colours. The parent completely blew the start, dived out to the left, and that was race over for that horse from there on in. The feature of this contest is that it was strongly run, and thus I think it's going to be form that will work out pretty well. In the early part of it, Queen of the Skies, who finishes runner-up, makes the running. But then, incorrigible towards the outside, horse number 4 pushes the pace along and goes and sits on the girth of Queen of the Skies, ensuring quite a strong gallop and certainly a contested lead for this. The finishing speed percentage under 100. We don't get them very often. 97%. So they finished tired. The winner was really slowing down in the closing stages through the final 3 furlongs. So this turned into a real test of stamina. Here's the winner, Peaceman, and Rab Havlin just sat there. There's Queen of the Skies making the running, and she does really well. Off that strong gallop, she boxes on to finish in second place. But this winner is a very strong stayer, I think. He could be seen travelling strongly, and then he picks up pretty well in the closing stages. We're not seeing sprinting fractions according to the course track sections because they have gone so quickly in the early part of the race. You can see the parent has now pushed up towards the outside, having fluffed the start and keeping Queen of the Skies honest in behind. First sight in the Godolphin Blue, the favourite, is in trouble now, going absolutely nowhere from this point on. This horse hadn't got some very good speed figures yet to his name, and he found this pace and this strength of race too much for him, and he drops away. But look at Peaceman now, cruising his way to the front. I think he's a strong stayer at this trip. His 9th furlong was 12.42 at the penultimate furlong. That's miles better than his rivals in the race, who were getting tired. The runner-up, Queen of the Skies, she did really well. She quickened and she went her 8th furlong. So that's 2 furlongs out at 12.05. She was the quickest in the race. But then she got tired and paid for that as Peaceman just ground it out in front, posting a 38.44 final 3 furlongs. The runner-up, 39. You see the parent dropping right away, incorrigible dropping right away. 2 horses that forced the pace. So Queen of the Skies has done well in second. But Peaceman's won this pretty comfortably. The 3rd horse running on, Regal Empire, well, he stayed on quite strongly according to the numbers. He was equal to the winner in the final furlong, 12.9 for Regal Empire, staying on well, and he perhaps wants a little bit further. He might be a horse to be with when he stepped up to 1.5 miles. This winner, though, pretty impressive. He didn't sprint, he just kept grinding it out there, and that may see him appear in the Zetland next time up. Sorry, the John Smith's Cup next time up, 15th of July. That's where he's entered. He may well go there, and if he gets a strong gallop there, he could be quite interesting in that race. Look how far apart they are. Look how strung out in the closing stages they are. Now, they were racing on ground that was rain softened and on ground that had been watered as well. So it was quite hard work out there. It did turn into a grind, and the gallop was very honest with that modest finishing speed percentage, telling us all we need to know about that gallop. But this horse just kept on rolling. Nothing else could do that, and he was pretty impressive. Maybe a penalty, and the John Smith's Cup awaits. He's quite a decent horse, and he's improving rapidly. From Newmarket on Friday night to Saturday, and the opening race on the card, which was at 12:40, it was the Empress Filly Stakes, listed contest for 2-year-olds over 6 furlongs, and Star of Mystery was 4-5 from evens. What a Question 9-2, Point of Attack 13-2, Unbreak My Heart 12s, Rare Jewel 14s, 16-1, and Bigger the rest. It's a rarity when a horse appears on the verdict on 2 occasions, but that is the case with this winner, Star of Mystery. She appeared after her 11-length romp at Haydock last time up, and she's gone in again. Stall number 3 for her in the Godolphin Blue, Charlie Appleby and William Buick. Cry Fiction from 9 managed to finish in second place, and Unbreak My Heart from 1 was back in third. This is a most taking performance from Star of Mystery, and better company awaits her. Surely she will step up into group company after what she did here. She was very, very impressive over this 6 furlong trip, and she's an exciting prospect going forward. For 2-year-olds over this trip, it was evenly run. They didn't go a mad gallop. You can see a few of them are a little bit keen, particularly a couple over on the far side. The winner travelling towards the stand side in the Godolphin Blue, and the finishing speed percentage 103.17. So she's finished off 3.17% quicker in the final 3 furlongs than she ran the rest of the race, and she quickened up very smartly. You can see here she's just about to be launched through the 5th furlong, where she fired 11.02 to go and seal the deal here, and that was really impressive, as was her final 3 furlongs, 34.25 runner-up couldn't get anywhere near that. 34.74 for the runner-up. But Star of Mystery's lengths better through the final 3 furlongs than the runner-up, and merely has to be pushed out hands and heels in the closing stages to record an effortless success. And surely a Group 3 or even better than that awaits, because she's entered in the Group 1 Moyglare Stakes at the Curragh on the 10th of September, so that might be possibly where Charlie Appleby goes with her next. In behind, did anything shape well? Well, yes, is the answer to that. Unbreak My Heart ran a big race. She's just in behind the winner there, just tracking the winner. And according to the course track sectionals, she was fastest in the 3rd furlong, 10.58, and she was fastest in the 4th furlong, 10.74. But she was poorly positioned the way the race went, and Star of Mystery was away and gone, and she couldn't peg her back. But those are 2 quick furlongs from in behind from Unbreak My Heart, who pays for those furlongs through the final one, gets very tired and weakens into 3rd spot. But she certainly flashed real ability through those furlongs, and she'll win a little race going forward. You'd have thought she might take a listed race similar to this in the future. But this winner, she's, I think, just about the star of the verdict this week. She's a very, very good 2-year-old. She's made 2 appearances on the verdict. I'll tell you what, she might make another one for sure when we see her next time up. We'll stay at Newmarket on Saturday. Criterion Stakes next up here in the verdict. It's a Group 3. It was over 7 furlongs. And Aldari, bit of an Ascot specialist. He was the 5-2 favourite. Berkshire Shadow well backed 11-4. Pogo 3s and 92 Jumbie. Audience 14s and a big drifter. And Sam Maximus was 25-1. And it was that drifter, Audience, who obliges for Team Gosden once again. Rab Havlin on board as well. And it was stall number 6 where Audience came from. Second was Jumbie, stall number 1. And third was Pogo from stall 2. Quite an interesting race as far as the course track sectionals were concerned, because it was quite steady early on, and then the pace picked up mid-race, and then they finished a little bit tired. It was the 4th and 5th furlongs where the pace really ramped up. The finishing speed percentage, 102.60, is indicative of quite a good gallop. At this point, they're not going that strongly, and they're split into 2 groups, and I think you really want it to be far side. There's the winner, Audience, who does this very nicely, and Jumbie's this side, so they're wide apart in the early part of the contest. Aldari in the Shadwell colours, far side, is worth keeping an eye on. We'll give that horse a sectional upgrade in a moment or two. But this is where the pace begins to wind up. Rab Havlin kicks on from about the 4 pole, and his 4th furlong was pretty quick at 10.91, and his 5th furlong was 10.66. So in essence, the pace has wound up quite a long way out. And what happens is the horses in the closing stages pay for that. And the good example of that is the final furlong from the winner, 12.41, furlong 7, getting very tired and lugging over to the far rail. But Audience had done the damage in the 4th and the 5th furlong, getting everything off the bridle. And this horse then lugs over to that far rail and then picks up again a little bit when getting to the rail. Certainly straightens out under Rab Havlin and was able to just gallop out and do that 12, just over 12 second furlong, that 7th furlong, to land the spoils in this Group 3. Now we need to upgrade one horse in the race. It's a big sectional upgrade for me, and it is this fella here, the Ascot specialist, Aldari. He's won 3 times at Ascot. 5th furlong was 10.48, and his 6th furlong 11.44. In pursuit of the winner, was the fastest in the race. Having been held up and giving Audience 3-4 lengths head start, Aldari's run really fast in pursuit, but couldn't get to Audience, who'd got first jump. Rab Havlin winding it up in the 4th and 5th furlong. That one in the race, and then Audience is getting tired and hanging left late on, but had enough to hang on despite decelerating quite markedly in the closing stages. Where next for Audience? Well, this was off a 9-month layoff, and this horse is probably best fresh. Had won very nicely when making all the running to win at Leicester 9 months ago. The Lennox Stakes, you would have thought, would be a possibility. If they want to up this horse in grade a little bit, that would be a good one, and 7 furlongs is definitely Audience's trip. So that's probably the most obvious place where they could go. But the horse does hold some entries. One in the Bunbury Cup back here on the July course, that's a possibility, and also entered in a Heritage Handicap at Ascot. Quite hard to make the running at Ascot, so that might not be the place. But the Lennox Stakes possibly beckons for audience who's a little bit quirky, but very talented. Okay, let's turn our attentions to the Curragh now, and we're going to start on a Friday night. A host of good races over the 3 days of the Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby Festival, but I've picked out this particular performance of a 2-year-old filly from the opener on Friday. It's a maiden contest over 7 furlongs, good to yielding in places the ground, and 8-13 on debut. Ylang Ylang, Opera Singer 7-1, 7's 10 deep, Dollarina 9-1, Betula 16's 18-1, and Bigger the Rest. And it was the favourite who obliged, expensive purchase and beautifully bred, and she wins in impressive style for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien, and there is promises to be an awful lot more to come. Now, we don't have course track sectionals at the Curragh, so we don't really know what the gallop was like early, but if you're looking behind, there's a few horses that are quite keen, and I don't think Ryan went a mad gallop out in front, for that's exactly where he is now, dictating the fractions. Make a note of Dollarina out here, definitely wants marking up, saw daylight throughout the whole race and was wide as well, but ran on nicely in the closing stages. But we really need to concentrate on this winner, who was a €1,500,000 purchase with a Coolmore operation. They must have seen something they liked, and they will really like what she did here. And this is a typical sympathetic Ryan Moore ride on a newcomer. He only nudged her out hands and heels. I know making the running is the thing to do really at the Curragh. It is often the way to ride the track, and Ryan Moore rides the place better than anybody, and he has got a bit of an easy lead out in front. But she picks up in great style for just minimal urging from Ryan Moore. He's got the third just pestering there. She's quality in the pinkish colours. Here comes out wide Dollarina, is at a wide trip and seeing a lot of daylight for the Joseph O'Brien yard. She's run on okay. Your final time, 1:25.5. That's okay. It suggested the ground was just on the easy side for the Friday at the Curragh. And you can see there Ryan's not doing much on her. I think he just gave her one flick of the whip in the closing stages. And as soon as she crossed the line, one bookmaker went as short as 4-1 for the Oaks next season. And she does have plenty of stamina on the damn side of her pedigree. So that would very much be a possibility. You'd have thought that's probably a bit short at this stage, and I think she's eased to 5-1 now with that very same firm. But even so, she's at the head of the market for a classic already on the back of just one run, and going off at whatever it was, 4-7 on her debut, told you that she was very highly thought of. I think the second will win soon, Dollarina, running on quite well under Dylan Brown McMonigle for the Joseph O'Brien team. But that was a great start to Irish Derby weekend for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. Things got better and better as the weekend went on, but she is a very useful filly. She's entered in the Moyglare. Maybe she'll meet Star of Mystery there. Okay, let's have a look at the Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby, the Group 1 on a Sunday at the Curragh. Mile and a half, of course, was the Tripsy. Good to firm in places was the ground, so it firmed up through the meeting. Auguste Rodin, 4-11, the Epsom Derby winner. White Birch, 6-1. Sprewell, who was hampered in the Derby and perhaps not seemed to best effect at Epsom, 13-2. San Antonio, 16s from 20s, up and under 28s. It was 33s and Bigger the Rest. Now, obviously, we're going to include an edit to this race because of the very bad injury to San Antonio, who sadly had to be put down thereafter. So commiserations to connections of that horse. But we'll have a look at the beginning of the race, and then we'll pick it up after that horrible incident, which sort of upset and altered the rhythm of the race, really. It was Adelaide River, the runner-up, who went to the front in the early part of the contest, and Auguste Rodin just adopted a position, third or fourth. Ryan Moore happy to just sit there and race around the rail. There's the second horse, and Covent Garden's in further behind Auguste Rodin. He finished third, so 1-2-3 for Aidan O'Brien, and it's his 15th win of the Irish Derby. He's got a tremendous record here, and this horse being the first horse to win the Epsom Derby and the Irish Derby since Harzand managed to do it in 2016. The pace early on doesn't look particularly strong, does it? Although the final time was actually pretty good. If you look back at previous Irish Derbies, it was 2 minutes 33.24. It was certainly quicker than Westover last year. The ground was on the quick side, and they did wind the pace up from some way out. So they begin to race uphill now as they've got a mile to go at this point. And this is a race that's caused much debate and much contention about the closing stages, people with differing opinions of what happens late on in the contest. And I'm going to take a positive view of what Auguste Rodin achieved here. In essence, it looked more workmanlike, didn't it, than impressive. There was no sort of blinding turn of foot there, but that can happen here at the Curragh. Good horses can struggle to reel in those that perhaps have got an easy lead, and they've obviously got some ability on the lead. And I think Seamie Heffernan saved a bit on the leader, and that has meant that he can get rolling in the home straight and give Auguste Rodin a little bit of a race. It must be said, Auguste Rodin was definitely hampered by the sad injury to San Antonio. He had to jink to his left, he lost a bit of momentum, and then saw, as Ryan Moore said, loads of daylight. But my take from here on in is that Ryan Moore has now got this race in the bag, and the bag is very much in his office. He's got this totally under control, but this horse, for me, he's just idle. I don't think he does a tap. He's got to the front now, and Ryan said, come on then, let's go and win the race. And he's not gone through with it. So then Ryan pulls his whip through and says, come on, we've got to go, you've got to go, you've got to really pick up. And then he does, and then he angles across to his right, slightly hampers the runner-up, who then has to switch. And then looks awkward when switching the runner-up, Adelaide River, head to one side. He carried his tail high throughout the race. I think Auguste Rodin is miles better than the bare result. Ryan Moore reporting that he didn't even blow much. Now, some have said in various places and social media that maybe Seamie Heffernan could have ridden a more vigorous race on the runner-up. Well, he administers two pretty firm cracks inside the final furlong, and there was a big gap to go for up the rail, and this horse wasn't really good enough, in my opinion, to go there. And I don't think Seamie Heffernan did much wrong, really. I think Auguste Rodin has taken control now in about 3 strides, and then he's idled. And Ryan Moore's just had to get a bit serious with him to say, look, you think you've done enough, but you haven't quite, you've got to go. And there, from this great angle, you can see that he's almost 3/4 of a length up, and then he goes for his whip and says, right, come on, you've got to really go and win this race now. Seamie Heffernan trying to get in that gap, horse can't go, Auguste Rodin cuts across, and Seamie angles out to his left. And for some that think that maybe Seamie could have been tougher on the runner-up, well, I invite you to back the runner-up if he meets Auguste Rodin again, and I wish you well with that particular project, because I don't think he'll get anywhere near Auguste Rodin if they were to meet again. Look at this horse's ears as well in the closing stages. For me, he's not done a tap out there. He's miles better than the bare result. And remember, he beat the runner-up in the Epsom Derby by 11 lengths. Well, he couldn't beat him 11 lengths here because of the run of the race and the way things panned out. But he'd beat him 11 lengths again for me if they met and things panned out differently. I think he's really good. Where will they go? Well, King George is a possibility, you would say, but perhaps they'll want to get him for breeding purposes to win a Group 1 over 10 furlongs. I think he'd be capable of that, and maybe the Irish champion would be the place they'll go with him. But he's a lovely moving horse, he's a very talented horse, and he's certainly, for me, miles better than the bare result there in the Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby. So that's this week's verdict. I hope you enjoyed looking back on all of those races. I think Star of Mystery was something of the star of the show. Very impressive when winning at Newmarket. A very fast filly. I look forward to seeing where she goes. She might, of course, just go to the Moyglare and meet up with Ylang Ylang, who was impressive on her debut at the Curragh. And Auguste Rodin, well, he's a dual Derby winner now, and he needs giving plenty of credit. That's it for this week. I'll see you next time.